Hi, welcome to Cobb TV. I'm Aqua Liao, and with us today is Cobb Commission Chairman Mike Boyce. Good afternoon, Chairman. How are you doing today?
Well, it's been a very busy week. As you know, I started very early on Monday morning, 8 o'clock, by informally presenting the budget to the board. And I think I'd like to just talk about some of the highlights of that meeting, since I'm sure most people didn't get up to watch the presentation at that hour.
Well, please share with us.
All right. Well, as you know, we passed the millage rate last month and set it at 6.76 for the general fund. And I just want to be very, very open about this. I was reading something recently, and they used the expression transparently honest, and I want to be transparently honest with the people of Cobb County right now. We have a significant challenge in front of us to make the balanced budget for next year at 6.76. We have drained, or are going to drain, every single reserve bucket we have, except for the reserve, the general reserve, which is 9% of our budget, to fix the shortfalls that I believe should have been addressed using millage increases. Or if nothing else, just using the pay the millage that the board agreed on to pass last year's budget. I was asked to, I assumed this budget, we spent the money, and I thought it was the appropriate thing to do, as I mentioned last week, to take the lead on it and ask the board to pass it and to pay for a budget that they'd agreed on last summer. And they chose another route. But let's not kid ourselves. There is no other secret untapped fund left after next year that doesn't require us to either A, cut services, B, raise the millage rate, or C, do all three of them. But having said that, there are a number of things that I heard during the town halls that I am asking to be done in the near future. First of all, in the past, we have been passing SPLOST projects, and there are a couple of libraries that I can think of right away. But for some reason, we didn't link the SPLOST project, which is a separate sum of money, to general fund money, which is how we operate these libraries or what other facilities we are. So even though at the time it seemed like a great idea to have a brand new facility, we never thought about the cost of what it would take to operate them, both in personnel and maintenance costs. And we never linked the two. So what would happen is that when it came time to open up that facility, we'd have to run around and try to find money to do that. So what I've asked now to have happen is that we do not pass any future SPLOST project that requires a general fund support in the form of operations and maintenance or anything else. We do not pass any future SPLOST project that we cannot identify where in the general fund we're going to pay for that support of that project. The second thing I heard was a lot of comments about transit. And what I've asked the county manager to do is to go back and to bring an agenda item to the board where we're going to cancel the contract for the transit study. A lot of criticism about that at the town halls, that even though it was not general fund money, it was still taxpayer money. And they didn't see the necessity for yet another study. It didn't matter there was a transit study, just the subject of the transit, of the fact there was another study. So I've asked that to be canceled. We also are looking very closely at the circulator buses. Look, it's part of the overall project down there in supporting our partnership with the Braves. The buses were not funded out of general fund money. They're funded out of the $3 hotel tax that was levied on all the hotels in the Cumberland Cumberland Service District. So even though the money for the buses didn't come from the taxpayers' money directly, nonetheless, it has gotten the perception that we're having buses running around that are expensive, that are not being used properly. So I've asked the county manager to go back and look at that whole operation, and if necessary, we will cancel it and go back and see what we're going to do with the $3 hotel tax that we used to fund that. So again, we heard a lot of things at the town halls. Those are two that came to mind right away, and we're doing something about. Increase in fees. I heard some comments that why are we letting people who are not part of Cobb County come use our facilities for free? So after the budget is passed, we will be doing a complete review of all the fee structures in Cobb County, not just for the county parks, but also other business fees and the other associated fees. The parking garage, where after 5 o'clock, the county parking garages, you can park for free after 5 o'clock and on weekends. I have already informally informed Mayor Tumlin of Marietta that we're looking seriously at now having that as paid parking for extended period of times beyond 5 o'clock at night and on weekends. So I've asked the county manager to go back and come forth with a proposal for that. So the bottom line is we're going to be looking for every area to pay for, again, this significant challenge in the budget, and that's just one area. I think I also mentioned Monday morning that it's time for some straight talk about the Braves. This has been, at least from my experience in the 7-8 months that I've been working with the Braves team, they have been nothing but straightforward partners. I can tell you right up front here that they have never called me in my 8 months in office and asked for any kind of a favor to do something that involved a shortcut, waiving some requirement. They have been true, honest-to-goodness partners. And the anger that is still out there that I saw during the town halls should not be about the Braves. They've done what they should do in this partnership. But the problem has been that we did not communicate to the voters and the taxpayers in a manner that reflected their concern about what is it, or is this truly going to be a revenue neutral partnership? In other words, for whatever we're contributing to the Braves, and it's significant, it's $6 million in bond premiums, it's another $1 million, $1.2 million a year in operation and maintenance, and there's some other associated support costs. Are all those costs covered by property and personal property taxes, so that the taxpayer, in fact, is not paying anything out of their wallets for this part of the partnership? And the true answer is, in the initial years, and I'm not sure what those initial years are, my guess is probably somewhere in the 5 to 10 year range though. In the initial years, no. All we're getting in from this partnership with the Braves is not going to cover our expenses out for it. I think we should have explained that to them from the start and let them know up front, because if you don't do that, then it seems like we're hiding something. Well, I don't think anybody intentionally meant to hide anything. We just didn't do a great job of communicating that, yes, in the initial years, we are going to be paying from out of my wallet, your wallet, anybody who has property here in the county, you're going to be paying for our part of the partnership. But I'm confident that this partnership, in the end, is going to derive the resources to make this a partnership where the county is going to benefit revenue-wise. But we just have to be patient about it. Excuse me. So I know that's not what people want to hear, but I'm going to be transparently honest with you. No, we are paying for our part of the partnership. Yes, it is coming from your wallet, and I know that you're frustrated and upset about this, but that's the reality, and I don't think we need to hide behind that anymore. The last thing I want to talk about here is that we are looking at low-hanging fruit. We've gone back to the Oversight Committee report to see if we can find some things in there that might save us some money. But I also hear all the time about we need to cut services as a way to save money so we don't have to raise the millage rate. We're not cutting services. When you do that, you're cutting people. So let's be honest about that. And let's not hide behind some sort of, colloquium here that the services are some material thing. No, these are honest-to-goodness people who are providing these services. And I was signing some certificates of appreciation last week. Probably, I'm guessing there were 100. They were in 4 different stacks. But just in the 2 stacks that I was signing, there was 1,400 years of service to this county by the staff, by members of the staff. 1,400 years of service to the staff to this county. We're not cutting services. We're cutting people that have given their life, their professional life, to this county. They've done so loyally. They have made this county the great county that it is. The reputation that we have is because of them. So I've asked the commissioners to be very, very sensitive to the fact, don't be talking about cutting services. Talk about cutting people. And these are the people that have made us look good. And when you start putting that in human terms, then you might be a little bit more sensitive to the fact rather than walking around just simply talking about ways of saving money by just cutting services. We owe much more to these county staff and to these people that have been behind us and have showed their loyalty and have been patient about it. So the bottom line is the hole going into the budget for next year is roughly around $20 million. $20 million. That's just the start, because that's the hole that we created because we didn't raise the millage rate over the last 2 years to cover the services that we said we were going to spend money on. We rated the water fund, we rated the economic development fund, we're rating the, we set aside the tidal ad valorem tax, but we've drained that out now too. So we've drained all those buckets to try to artificially lower the millage rate. And next year, we have to find a way to propose a millage rate that's not only going to cover the expenses for this year's budget, but is also going to be that millage rate that we're going to go into in 2019. And that's before we start even addressing other concerns that might be out there. I just came from a briefing right now with a member of this county who has said that they've been more than patient waiting for a program that they were promised commitment to a number of years ago. And it's something that has to bring us into the 21st century. And that program runs somewhere between $5 and $10 million. So let's add that to the $20 million hole. And like I said, I'm sure there are other programs that are out there. I'm still waiting for the other elected officials here, the constitutional officers, to come in and give their brief in the coming weeks. I think it's time to, if you see nothing else from watching me on this video, if you hear it from, if I'm the first, then so be it. We have a challenge that faces us as great as when we went into the Great Recession in 2008. And it's going to require significant political will and skill to get through these times. And I'm committed to leading that. I know that I've been very open to the commissioners about this challenge. I'll be working with them to get through this, to find ways to do this. But I want the public to know that there is no free lunch. Quality is not cheap. This is a 5-star county, and we cannot run this county on a 3-star budget. And we need to step up to the plate here and acknowledge that the reason we are a 5-star county is because we have paid for services that have delivered, that have brought this quality of life, that have allowed us to safely work, play, live, and pursue our dream of this county. And I'm committed to making sure that, at least from my perspective, that's what I'm going to that I'm still achieving, I'm committed to achieving in the future.
Well, thank you, Chairman. That was a lot, and you certainly sound like you have your work cut out for you, and we really appreciate your candor. And I know, speaking on behalf of employees, we're glad to hear that you will not be cutting services. And thank you for joining us today. Let's see you back here next week. Have a wonderful week.
Okay, thank you, Equa.